Okay, welcome everyone to our Journalism Area Awards ceremony for our graduating seniors receiving awards from the journalism area. Thank you all for being here. This is really great to see you, and great thanks for participating. And at this end of finals week, as we get ready for commencement tomorrow, and sort of see things off at the end of a very long, difficult, challenging year, but also one that we all hope has been for development and growth in its own right. So thanks for being here. I'm Seth Lewis. I'm the director of the journalism area, and it's my distinct pleasure to host today's meeting. This will be, even though I have a sport coat on, this is going to be relatively informal, I promise. The purpose here being to honor our graduating seniors who are receiving these awards, and just to have a chance for faculty to honor them, recognize them, and also for the students as well. I've invited them to take a couple of minutes each as we introduce them, to allow them to share maybe some thoughts, memories, or reflections on the year that was, and as well as on the 4 years that have been, in terms of their experiences as journalism majors. So to get us started, let me actually just bring up my slides here for a second so I can introduce our award winners. We'll actually kind of I'll flip back and forth between these if you go one by one. So, congratulations overall to our class of 2021. I know this whole virtual thing is not ideal. My son actually had virtual commencement last night from South Eugene High School. So, that wasn't what I expected for it to be like for him, but, we've all learned to make do under the situation. Our first award is for academic excellence, and this award is given to a student who has truly top-notch grades that really stand out overall among graduating journalism students. And this year's a winner for academic excellence is Jade Stewart. And yes, let's give a round of applause to Jade. And first, I'd like to introduce Lisa Hayamoto. Professor Hayamoto is going to talk a bit about Jade, and then we'll give a chance for Jade to speak up as well.
Thank you, Seth. All right, so great to see all y'all's faces. Really excited about all of our wonderful students we're going to honor today. I'm delighted to be here to speak about Jade Stewart, who, could have been a player for all these awards. He's a thoughtful, talented journalist. He's an experienced and engaged leader. But I'm really pleased that he earned this particular award because it really speaks to the driving force behind all of his many talents, which is learning. Jade wants to know about the world. He wants to figure stuff out. He wants to ask questions, and then he wants to ponder it and process it and contextualize it in this weird and wonderful human condition. I wish it were sometimes a little more wonderful than weird, but it's been a year. Yeah, and thank goodness for journalism, he then wants to tell people about it. And you could call it curiosity, you could call it critical thinking, but Jade's got it. And it's that drive to learn that powers everything he does. And if it happens to earn him good grades, that's great. But it serves such a better purpose when it's put to a broader use. So I've worked with Jade in lots of different areas, features class, the sadly doomed New York trip, ethos, various internship applications, and successful ways forward. But I first met Jade in Gateway. And I'm going to tell y'all a little secret about Allen 221, which is that I can tell what kind of student you are based on where you sit in that class. And Jade sat in the front back left section. And if you're the kind of student who's bright and really, thinks about things, but also really questions things, that's where you sit. And that's where Jade sat. And he was incredibly engaged from day one. He had a lot of interest in journalism, but he also had a lot of thoughts about how it can and must be better. And it's been such a joy to see him explore that and even at times answer those questions. As he's found his place in the journalism world, he's helped others find it, all the while working toward that better version of journalism that we all envision. So Jade, I'm so delighted to have been a part of your journey. I'm so excited to see you on your next steps. I hope you will always have questions and ask questions, and I hope you continue to tell me what you find. So, Sotsugo Medico Jade-san, I'm so proud of you. Congratulations.
That's wonderful, Lisa. Thank you so much for those remarks. Jade, this is your opportunity. If you'd like to share a few thoughts with us for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. You're too nice to me. Yeah, so as Lisa said, she actually taught my first official middle school class, which was Gateway. And it was super stressful, and I kind of hated it. And I didn't get a good grade on my like story that I wrote in the class. And I just remember kind of like questioning whether I kind of had what it took to be a good writer or a journalist. But I learned a lot in that class, and when I went to Lisa's office hours, she was really nice to me, gave me a lot of good advice, you know, kind of told me that I had potential, and it made me feel a lot better about journalism to know that there were nice people like Lisa in there. And it was cool to see another, like a successful Japanese American person too in the field. As I moved on in the J school, I took classes with people like you know, Peter Loffer, Laurie Shantz, Damian Radcliffe, Brent Wolf. They were all really nice to me, too nice to me. They all taught me really important things about the craft of reporting and writing. But beyond that, I think like they saw a potential in me that I didn't always see in myself. So that gave me the confidence I needed to keep working at it, to become better, knowing that one day I would get better. Yeah, so I might talk for a little bit too long, but outside of the class hours, you know, Laurie Shantz coached me through cover letters for internships I wanted, spent countless hours on the phone giving me advice about my career. Damian Radcliffe helped me get my first story published in a professional publication, in the Eugene Weekley. Peter Loffer hung out with me in Spain and bought me lunch at a farm-to-table restaurant in Marin, California, when I had my first internship in Oakland. And earlier this year, Lisa locked herself in her bathroom to hide from her kids after a long day of work to call me and help me prepare for what I think it was my internship at the Seattle Times, which I got. I'm in Seattle now in my apartment, about to start. I'll be writing there for at least 7 months. So this, you know, this generosity from all my professors is what really got me through the last 3 years, and I think is largely what got me to where I'm at in my career right now. You know, their willingness to help me with everything helped me feel happier and more included in a field that seems like heartlessly competitive sometimes. And yeah, they've also served as really good role models for people who are successful in their careers, but also don't sacrifice their lives or their kind of kindness or humanity for their careers. So they've been good role models outside of the career world too. Yeah, I'm just really happy and blessed to have learned and worked with all of you. I know we'll all stay in touch. Thank you.
Jade, thank you so much. That was so beautifully, eloquently said, and appreciate you mentioning so many of the faculty and stories and experiences. I think you touched on a lot of things that were just wonderful to hear. So thank you for that. And if you got a bad grade at one point, you apparently made up for it by receiving our Outstanding Academic Achievement Award. Our next our next award here, let me just go back to my slides, is for leadership. And this award recognizes someone with particular initiative and real drive and sort of management and ability to really stand out as a leader in the work that they do. And so our winner this year is Jack Forrest. And Professor Brent Walth will be talking for a few minutes about Jack and his accomplishments.
Thanks, Seth. This is a real honor to introduce Jack. Excuse me, let me just describe the award again. It goes to a graduate who's demonstrated exemplary initiative, provided outstanding management, or made other significant contributions as a pace setter at the school. And he has done all of those things. You know, I've learned that Jack actually was born and raised in Eugene. I reached out just now a little while ago to make sure I got my facts right. And for some crazy reason, when he got out of high school, he wanted to get the heck out of Eugene. So he went to New Orleans, to Tulane University, a very prestigious school, no question. And for his first year, and majored in marketing. Jack, seriously. So we've cured him of that, gladly, because Jack realized that he had a different calling. And that's one in which you get paid every day to ask endless questions to total strangers. It's a calling where you get to be a thorn in the side of arrogant power. And it's a calling where, as a storyteller, you can be determined to make a difference. I want to go just through some of his accomplishments. Just take a minute. I only have 3 to 5 minutes, Jack, so bear with me if I leave things out. Reporter at the Oregon Daily Emerald claims to have, I'm attributing this to Jack, more than 100 stories published at the Emerald. I believe that, by the way. As a senior news editor, he saw a staff of 2 editors and over a dozen staff writers, breaking news, watchdog reporting, mostly making sure that all those stories were tight, factual, and ethical. He was editor of Oregon Magazine, where he saw a staff writer a staff of 20 writers, and published 14 stories. This year, he's been the editor-in-chief of Student Voice, the new startup which helps mentor high school students around the country. At Eugene Weekley, our alternative newspaper in town, he worked as a writer funded by the Google News Initiative. He covered City Hall, and later on worked as a watchdog reporter, writing about things such as the state youth prison system and police brutality. In other words, big stories. One of the best stories I read all year, Jack wrote, about contracting and surviving COVID-19. Now, this was a brave story to write because he ended up having to acknowledge that he made mistakes and got COVID and what he went through in that experience. I know he got some blowback, but I think it was really important because most people praise this story, and he was helping other students learn from his mistakes. In fact, the center of the story was actually, I'm a student who got COVID, so you don't have to. And it was a really important public service. You know, too often in school, we often lose track of the greater purpose of why we're doing this. And, you know, providing the insightful and relevant and verifiable account of our changing world. And journalism goes beyond that, especially when it comes to holding the power to account. You know, people say journalism is in the fight for its life. It's democracy that's under siege. Journalism is the shield and the tribune, both protecting democracy and telling the truth while doing so. And I've had a few students who've taken that to heart as much as Jack. He's been a student in 2 of my courses, and he's currently working on an investigative project. I can't tell you too much about it, except that he and his team are going to be giving voice to thousands of people who no longer have a voice and holding people accountable for their wrongdoing. You know, as a reporting teacher, I tend to be a bit demanding. Actually, not probably a bit, very demanding. And I ask of students to reach a professional standard. I don't expect them to do it, but I want to show them what's expected of them. And I rarely have a student who has met and exceeded his expectations as Jack. He will know what I mean when I say, Jack, you have never, ever been a disappointment. In fact, you have exceeded that in every way. I send him out to answer a question, and he comes back as an expert. And he shares what he knows. He shares what he knows with his team, and he gets them invested. Now, all these are great accomplishments as a journalist, but this is a leadership award. And the great thing about Jack is that he's been able to take all of these qualities, all these talents, and demonstrate leadership both directly and by example. And so I've talked to a lot of people who have worked with Jack, and this is what they say. They say that he's outstanding at describing the challenge and getting people inspired to want to help tackle that challenge. He is a coach, which is to say he describes what the work is, what people need to do, and he gives the work back rather than trying to do it all himself or order people around. All of us in journalism know that the coaches are the ones who make the difference in the newsroom. He inspires people not only to share the mission, but also and to share the work, but and to share the feeling of accomplishment. He steps back and lets everyone else enjoy that, knowing that the work is what matters and not the credit. He doesn't fear change, and he's adaptive, which is absolute key in leadership. And he's willing to admit losses and learn from his mistakes. Although I haven't seen very many, Jack, at all. It's rare that we have students like Jack, and we value them and we hate to let them go, but we have to, because we are teaching them ways to change the world. And now, Jack, it's your turn. Congratulations on this award.
Thank you, Brent, for those wonderful remarks. Jack, this is your opportunity to share a little bit with us.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I think that's the most nice things I've heard you say about me in ever, probably. This was really excellent. Thank you. But that was really, yeah, I really appreciate that. Looking around like this little room, it's all the teachers that really made the biggest impact on me in different ways. And, Brent, talking about going above and beyond and too many accomplishments today, there's another award ceremony going on. I don't know if anybody knows, but it's the Pulitzer Prize. It's pretty similar to this one, slightly different, but Brent actually won that 20 years ago. I don't know if people know that. He never talks about it, but it's the time that, that you've put into us, where I think the first time I realized that you had my back was I was working on a story that had nothing to do with anything here. And I said, hey, can you help me on this? And I think it was like 8 o'clock at night. And you said, yeah, I got some time after 9. And I think we talked from about 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. And then you sent me follow-up emails into the night at 1 a.m. with different tips that you'd found for me. So I've never met a professor that was willing to go that above and beyond. And like you said, I did go to Tulane, never met anybody that was willing to work for me like that. Lisa, I, went all the way to New Zealand with you. I feel like it became, a friend, a colleague, and you treated me like like someone that you actually like to hang out with. And I learned so much from you. My first time I had to freelance, and my editor sent me on accident an email that was about me to the other editor saying that they didn't want to have to pay me very much. Lisa walked me through that one and told me to just relax and not throw a tizzy. And I've learned so much from you, Lisa. You've been one of the best mentors I've ever had through my time at SOJC. You also were in my, you came to my J100 class, and there was only 9 of us there. And you were one of the reasons I went into journalism. I was still trying to decide if I wanted to do advertising, and here I am. So definitely not doing advertising. Mark, I remember sitting in your office talking about what, options I had for internships. And you told me, you can do long form writing if you want. And you gave me all these different options, and you told me where to apply. And it was really amazing. I remember you said, stop quoting people so much. And that was something that really helped me out. Still do that today. And I tell my writers that. And, Peter, I don't know if you, or I should call you Professor Loffer. I don't know why I'm just naming people by their first names here, but I really appreciated your class. You taught me kind of a wanderlust in journalism, that you can go out and have fun and still be doing the important things. And Nicole, you've just been amazing. I never really got to have a full class just with you, but I've learned so much from you, and you've been such a big supporter. So there's no place like the SOJC where you can just go and people just really have your back. And that you can always ask for help. And yeah, I really appreciated my time here. And thank you again for the nice words, Brent. I really appreciate it. And I wrote them all down so that anytime you, tell me, I'll bring them back up to you. So you can't escape what you said. I really appreciate it. And this has been definitely, the best experience of my life. And I'm really excited to take what I've learned here and use it. So thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jack. Congratulations again on this wonderful award. Our third and final award here today goes to our winner of the Journalism Award, which recognizes just overall excellence in reporting and writing and editing. Could be in photography or design and other, it's sort of the overall craft of journalism. And Carly Abusia is the winner of this award this year. And Laurie Shantz will be talking a bit about Carly, and then we'll hand it over to her.
All right, so my favorite Carly story, and I think some of you may have heard it, but just in case, here it is again. Carly was in my reporting 1 class, and in week 8, we were all supposed to go cover a speech. And then the biggest snowstorm in 50 years hit Eugene, and everything was canceled. So I sent everybody a note and said, go cover the snow. And that was basically it. And everybody went and interviewed their neighbors, which is perfectly acceptable. There were good neighbor stories. There were things happening. Carly called up 20 businesses, hotels. She called up the Bob Kiefer Center in Springfield. I don't think most students know Springfield exists. And she came and did all of this stuff and turned in a story about people who lost their power and couldn't find a place to stay, and really good pieces. And she came to my office for her conference, and I was like, so tell me why you did this, which is the question I ask everyone before I do anything. And she said, was I not supposed to do this? And I was like, no, actually, this is exactly what you were supposed to do, but I've never seen anyone do it in a reporting 1 class. And she said, oh, okay. And then we honed her story. And Carly has been a sports journalist for the Daily Emerald for her time here. And I spent a lot of my career in sports. And what you hear basketball coaches say a lot is that I can't coach height. So Carly doing that in reporting 1 was the equivalent of like the first day of 9th grade girls basketball practice and having like a 6'4" post player that you never heard of show up and stand around. And she came with such excellent instinct, with such excellent drive. And those are things that I can work with. And it's been such a pleasure to work with Carly as she's learned to take those skills and hone them. And what's great about Carly too, is that she knows she wants to write. And a lot of people get stuck in the, I'm going to be an editor. And you can learn a lot from being an editor. I'm a better writer because I was an editor. But Carly stuck with what she wanted, and she focused on the writing, and she spent her time at the Daily Emerald, which is an independent student media. And I want to stress how important that is. I teach journalism. I care about what happens in the classroom, but the classroom in the end is a way to get you to somewhere else. And there is no better way to learn how to do this work, to do work that matters, than to do it at independent student media. And Carly dedicated herself to independent student media in a way that I have not seen in quite a while. And it's part of what makes her so good at what she's doing, because she puts her name on the line before a professor or a faculty member sees it. She shows up, she deals with, this is being recorded, right? With UL Athletic Communications, which is not the most helpful group of people who you will ever find. And she still finds stories. She covered the NCAA basketball tournament and followed the women's team. She did it in a pandemic. She did so many amazing things, and she did it independently. And also, first team all office hours as well, which is a present, which is wonderful. And that's what she did. She did the work and then reflected on it and came back and said, how can I do it better? And that is the perfect way to be able to do this. I also want to stress this. 85% of the sports journalists in this country are white men. And this percentage has not changed. It actually is slightly better since I graduated from college in 1991. And Carly, as an Asian American woman, is someone this field desperately needs. And she is representing her field with the quality of her work she's doing, and she's blazing a path for more people who are coming after her. Carly was accepted to the Sports Journalism Institute, which is the very top opportunity in this country for sports journalists, and it's run by people who are working incredibly hard to diversify the industry. Carly is part of that group. She's just been through a boot camp virtually in which she honed her skills even more, and she'll be spending the summer at the Denver Post. and working in their sports department. And I cannot tell you what an honor that this is for Carly. I want to stress it because Carly's super low key about what she does. And so I want to make sure that my high school Latin teacher once said, if you don't toot your own horn, no one's going to toot it for you. But I'm going to toot Carly's horn for her because this is an incredible accomplishment. And she's done this while also double majoring in public relations and working at ASUO, the student government as well. So Carly, congratulations on an amazing college career. Can't wait to see what you do next. And you're always part of the SOJC track family.
Thank you so much, Lori. Congratulations to Carly. And this is your opportunity now to share some remarks with us.
Awesome. Thank you. I swear I'm like smiling under this mask. I'm not just like straight face. I swear I was smiling the whole time. Lori, thank you so much for those kind words. I will get to you later a little bit in my little speech here. But first, I just wanted to give a shout out to my fellow award winners, Jack and Jade. You guys, I've worked with you guys at the EMG and in the classes in the SOJC, and you guys are phenomenal journalists. I mean, I look up to you guys so much. So I just wanted to say you both are amazing. I can't believe I'm like in the same like realm or room as you guys, but I just wanted to say you guys are just amazing. I can't wait to see what you guys do in the future. Second, it's so lovely to see all my past professors here in the SOJC in one place. It's weird being in one place virtually, but when I came into the SOJC, Lisa was also my gateway professor. And like Jay said, it wasn't the loveliest thing ever, but it was still a great learning foundation for what set me up further in the J school. And I've taken classes from Professor Wald and a little bit from Professor Dahman and Professor Loffer as well. And that was a whole nother experience that was eye-opening. And if you guys have taken or know Professor Loffer, his classes are very unique. And I've learned so much from him as well when I took his class in the greatest way. But when I took reporting one from Professor Shantz, I was very doubtful of my abilities, my writing skills, as she says. I hate tooting my own horn. It's weird, like I don't like talking about myself, but she was the first person who said, Carly, you can do it. And that was all I needed for the rest of my 4 years here. She has been a pillar in giving me the confidence that I need as a female and a person of color navigating the sports media field. It hasn't been easy. I've called her many times and had many meetings with her saying like, this is a lot. I can't do this. Going to many press conferences and many tournaments, being the only female and the only person of color in there, like she knows how it is. So she's really given me the confidence I need as a sports journalist navigating this really white male dominated field. And I truly wouldn't be where I am today without her. I wouldn't have the confidence I have today without her in applying to the Emerald and applying to the Denver Post. So again, I just wanted to say thank you so much to Professor Shantz and to all these great professors in this Zoom call. I would not be here without you all. So again, I just wanted to say thank you so much and please keep in touch.
Congratulations, Carly, Jack, Jade, all three of you, just amazing accomplishments. It was just remarkable to hear about all these things. And I don't know about your experience, but for me, it's been truly inspiring to hear about just all that you've done and then through all the difficulties we've experienced this past year. Now, I promised 30 minutes and we are right at 30 minutes, which is awesome. But we do have some of the faculty members here. So I would like to open it up for a couple of minutes for others who would like to say anything before we close. If you'd like to say any remarks or share any memories or other things about our winners this year.
I'll just jump in really quickly and say thank you all the families for being here today and for trusting us with your students. It's a big deal to send your kid off to college and we take it seriously and we are grateful and honored to have worked with your students. And thank you all for being here to support them. And we mean it when we say we hope they keep in touch and you all do the same. And we're sorry we don't get the opportunity to meet you all in person. We mentioned Jade's internship at the Seattle Times and Carly going to Denver. We should also mention that Jack has a really prestigious Snowden internship at the Oregonian this summer, where he'll be following in the steps of Brent Walth, where Brent had most of his career. So again, thank you all for being here and just really inspiring as well. Congrats.
I just want to say that this is all so lovely and all of these spectacular compliments, but Jade, you still owe me the Woody Allen interview from Spain, and I'll be waiting for it.
I'll track him down one day.
Well, if there's nothing else, I think what you said, Nicole, is a perfect place to end on. And truly, we are so grateful for all of you as parents, as supporters, and you students. We salute you and toast you in your remarkable achievements, and are really excited to see what the next chapter holds for you. And do hope that you'll stay in touch with us, and that we can stay together as a flock of ducks, or whatever term we use. And we sure appreciate all the great contributions you've made. So thanks for making this just a fantastic finish to the year that we've had, and best wishes ahead. Thank you again all for joining us, and congratulations to our award winners this year. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.